So Dillian Whyte has weighed in at 252 pounds for his fight tomorrow night. His opponent, Alexander Povetkin, weighed in at 224 pounds. So that's 18 stone bang on for Dillian Whyte in English money and 16 stone bang on for Alexander Povetkin. So Dillian Whyte will be 28 pounds heavier than his opponent. Now, aesthetically, this is the best shape I've seen Dillian Whyte in since about 2012. He's been lighter than this in recent years. I mean, in the Derek Chisora rematch, he weighed 246 pounds. But I would say aesthetically, he looks in better shape now. His muscle to fat ratio is better now than it was in the Chisora rematch. Now, I say 2012 because that is when Dillian Whyte received a 2-year ban for using an over-the-counter substance, or an over-the-counter supplement, which contained a banned substance. The supplement was called Whtye, and it had a substance in it which was banned about 2 weeks prior to Dillian Whyte fighting. I think it might have been this fight. And Dillian Whyte wasn't aware, and he received a 2-year ban for it. But prior to that ban, Dillian Whyte looked in tremendous aesthetic condition. He was pretty light. He was in the 230s and 220s early on in his career. But interestingly, he turned pro at 252, which is the exact same weight that he is for this Povetkin fight. And incidentally, I did a poll on my YouTube channel where I asked my subscribers how much they thought Dillian Whyte was going to weigh for this Povetkin fight. As you can see, 19% thought he was going to be under 245, 42% thought he was going to be between 245 and 250, 24% 250 to 255, 9% 255 to 260, and 6% over 260. So it turns out that the 24% were correct, and he weighed in between 250 and 255 at exactly 252 pounds, or 252 and a couple ounces or whatever. So yeah, he looks in great aesthetic shape, the best aesthetic shape he's been in for many a year. I want to say 8 years, since 2012. Again, he's been lighter than this in recent years for a couple fights, but he looks aesthetically in better shape now. Now, with that being said, looking in great aesthetic shape doesn't necessarily mean you're going to fight to the best of your ability or, be bang on the money in terms of your form. It all depends on how functional that weight is and how you've lost the weight. Because if you've lost the weight in such a way that you've burned yourself out in a gym doing it, then you can get in the ring and really underperform, not be as good as normal, because you've really left it all in the gym. You've burned yourself out. You've overtrained. That can happen, particularly when you're losing loads of weight. I mean, we saw that with Tyson Fury in the first Deontay Wilder fight. Truth be told, Tyson Fury had very little in that Deontay Wilder fight by way of energy and strength, because he'd burned himself out in the gym, losing an enormous amount of weight in the, months prior. Now, Dillian Whyte hasn't had to lose that amount of weight like Tyson Fury, who lost something like 100 pounds. Dillian Whyte has probably had to lose maybe 20 pounds, 25 pounds, something like that, because for the Mariusz Whtye fight, he weighed in at 271. For this fight against Povetkin, he's 252. So that's like 19 pounds, but you don't know if Dillian Whyte maybe gained a little bit after the Mariusz Whtye fight because he wasn't happy with that performance. And, you don't know exactly how much he would have had to lose from the start of his training situation in Portugal to now. Obviously, he's had several months to do it. It's very hot over there in Portugal. That helps you lose weight. And if Dillian Whyte performs well in this fight, I think that it will probably be prudent, if it's possible, if it's feasible logistically, to maybe set up shop and train in Portugal for all of his fights, if it works for him. Because again, aesthetically, he looks in fantastic condition, relatively speaking. Povetkin, again, very consistent throughout his career, has fluctuated very little in weight, which is quite incredible for a guy of his age. This guy is 40 years old and he weighs about the same now as he did when he was in his 20s. And physically, he doesn't look much different to how he was in his 20s. So the typical great shape for Povetkin, but Dillian Whyte also appearing in great aesthetic shape. Hopefully Dillian Whyte isn't weight drained. And again, I say weight drained, not that he has to make weight, because he's a heavyweight. They can weigh whatever they like. But I mean weight drained in the sense that he could have, taken off a hell of a lot of weight and his body hasn't adjusted to the lighter weight yet. His body hasn't replenished its energy stores and maybe got back to the normal levels of testosterone and adrenaline. Because sometimes you can have burnout. Again, I'm not a biologist and all this kind of stuff. I'm just speaking from personal experience. When back in the days I was training and I trained too hard and for too long, and I ended up training myself into the ground where I didn't have any energy left. And I'd have to take several weeks off training with no training at all, or very minimal training and lots of eating. And then all of a sudden, my energy stores would not only be replenished, but they'd absolutely go through the roof. And I'd be bouncing off the walls with energy. So with boxing, it is a case of understanding your body and knowing when to peak. Yeah, some fighters haven't mastered that science of knowing how and when to peak. Hopefully Dillian Whyte has mastered that science and he'll be peaking for the Alexander Povetkin fight on Saturday. I'm sure Povetkin will be peaking. Yeah, I just want to see the best of both men, Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think there's going to be drama. If Dillian Whyte handles Povetkin with relative ease, I will be very impressed. Yeah, because I think Povetkin, even at 40, in great shape. We saw in the Michael Hunter fight, he's still tough. He's still game. Still got ambition. And he's been consistent throughout his career. So, yeah, Dillian Whyte beating him with ease would be monumentally impressive as far as I'm concerned. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is this the weight you expected Dillian Whyte to come in at, 252? Did you expect lighter? Did you expect heavier? And do you think this is his optimal weight? Do you think that, this is where he's going to perform at his best? Are you still concerned after seeing him at 252 that he could maybe be a bit too light and indicative of him overtraining and leaving it all in the gym? Or not? Does this make you more confident than you previously were? Were you maybe worried he might come in 245 or under, and when he's coming at 252, it's restored your confidence? Let me know in the comment section below. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.